Good evening, happy Sunday one and all. The Super League is back from its week's break, and I'm pleased to say well, as I was just explaining to my co-commentator, I'm not exactly fresh, but I'm here and I'm ready to go again, and I'm delighted to be back, and I am equally delighted to be joined by full-chester boss, Mr. Mac himself. How are you, pal?
I do, Fifey. I'm all right, thank you. Given the wife gave birth late Wednesday night, it's only been a couple of nights in, but we're not doing too bad. We're out of Peroni at the local off license, so we're on a Sahi tonight, which has also inspired a J League 2 random challenge I've set myself, which is thoroughly not enjoyable. So I'm going to delete that once we've done tonight. But other than that, we're plodding on. We're all right.
Well, on behalf of everyone associated with the Super League, congratulations to you and the entire family on your newest edition.
Many thanks.
I only saw Martin in the chat, who I said evening to before me and you started talking. So just quick hellos to Mr. Edwards, Steve Wright, Duggan, Alf, Greavesy, Dimble. We've gone with Liam Piers instead of Tato Mourinho as the name on the chat tonight. We are graced by Wooder's presence. How are you, buddy? Been a while. Anyone else yet? Mr. Campbell's there as well, as is Rob. And just as I'm about to get into the chat, there is Swanee as well. Good evening, one and all. Macca, let's delve in. You only 5 games in, but you sit top of the table, one of 2 sides still unbeaten, 3 wins and 2 draws from your opening few games.
Yeah, not too bad. I'd probably snap your hand off for that initially, but if you look at my run of fixtures, I think Swan put out the next 5 recently on Twitter, and I think I've got a very, very tough 5. So I think if I can get anywhere near 15 to 20 points from the opening 10 fixtures, I don't think that's a bad haul. So we're on track at the minute. I think after last year's calamitous finish, we're looking to just rebuild a little bit and finish sort of top 4 if possible. I don't think that's beyond the the wit of man currently, no. But we'll be all right. We're plodding on. We're trying to stay under the radar, but it's a bit hard when you haven't fucking lost a game yet.
And again, only a few games, still in the infancy of the league, but nice to see. Defending champions Dudley, they're the other unbeaten side. They're still above the dotted line. Hulls remain above the dotted line on goal difference, but Loco are back in amongst it, Haggis in amongst it as well.
That's annoying, isn't it?
So nice to see some new names, and equally down the bottom, Northern Burn still just on the 1 point.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Edwards for all his artistic genius, and congratulations to Mr. Edwards. Actually, I believe he's been appointed a lead designer, a sportswear manufacturer. So congrats to Ian on that.
Congrats.
Don't get me wrong, it's nice seeing Ian down there because the more daylight you can put between yourself and Northern Burn generally means you're going to be in the mix. It is a shame. It's a real shame that Locomotive Boston have started well because, we had that lovely period, the golden age of Super League where Greavesy was shit. And now he's not, which is annoying. So it wouldn't surprise me if he won the fucker again.
Let's delve into the action. So, Ghost games aside, obviously your trip away to Gazelles will be last on. Is there any of the games in particular you would like to start with, or do we let fate dictate?
Well, just a quick note. Do you know what? Banter, I thought I was at home, so I've gone slightly aggressive in my formation. So that'll backfire and Martin will beat us. Do you know what, though? I do like the look of starting with Dragons Bostock, actually, not just because it's top of the list. Okay. 2 sides I've got a lot of affinity for. Well, I say 2 sides. 2 managers I've got a lot of love for.
Okay, let's go to Dragons Bostock then. And a couple of interesting choices. A slight tactical tweak from last time out, you'll see, where they've advanced the wing backs to wingers, and they've gone 2 up top with 1 AMC. They got the 1-1 draw. It was very late, wasn't it, when Morientes scored to level things up against Astor. And if I recall correctly, yeah, they've had 3 1-1 draws in a row. Morientes again coming to their rescue. It was against Northern Burn fairly late in the game, and his form has warranted him getting a starting place in this tactical change, and incidentally Sigalko dropping to the bench so that John Carew can start.
That's an interesting call. I think it does give Dogan a few options actually, because if it's not working, he can bring Maxim on and shuffle about, with your introduced halftime and 60-minute changes.
Yep.
I like the look of the team. The midfield's pretty solid. The Bishkan, Boya, Davids, Saeed at centre back. I'm not necessarily convinced, but my feelings on Saeed are well known.
Interesting. Park your feelings about Saeed aside. Where do you stand on when a player's requested to leave and he's still starting? We know it worked last year for Dudley with Rustico, and he'd requested to leave and he went on to captain the side to the trophy.
That's interesting. If it was a home serve and somebody requests to leave, right, unless it is an absolutely world-class pivotal player, I generally, spit on them, spit on their ancestors, spit on their houses. They can get gone. They get fucking disciplined. They get dropped to the reserves. I treat them like absolute shit. Like generally, I breach human rights acts as often as possible with them, because no man's bigger than the club, unless it's somebody like Seba Veron or like Ruud van Nistelrooy. So in that case, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if we can do anything. I say we as Super League people, if there's anything that can be done to keep players like that happy. I mean, where's Saeed going to go? Really? Does he want to go to another Super League club? Does he want to go back to Egypt? Like, is he going to go and play in fucking any of the European leagues where it's just a bunch of 17-year-old dossers because all the best players are here? Can't see the logic in it.
Well, I'm just looking through the chat. I'm not sure if you... I forgot to ask. Normally I do the admin before we go live. If you had a second device up with the chat.
I do.
You do? Excellent. So Duggan explaining there why Sagalka's been dropped. Scott saying Carew starting is housery. Obviously, we've just had game week 5. This is game week 6, so it's also the introduction of the first reserve swaps. Dragons took the opportunity to make one, with Maresca dropping back down to the reserves, and their out-of-league signing, who had been playing in the reserves to acclimatise, has been promoted. 3 goals in 4 reserve appearances, come straight into the lineup. What do you think?
That's not bad. He looks decent for a winger, although his dribbling and crossing's a bit bang average. But he's pacey, he'll work hard. Looks like he can put a foot in as well. Set piece is not bad. Could be a bit of a threat. Could be one of those slightly under the radar players that tend to do well in Super League. But he's not, looking just at this screen, doesn't seem to set the world alight. I mean, let's remember, I think Helder Postiga has scored about 100 goals in my reserves, and he's nowhere near the first team. So don't let those stats fool you.
Let's move on to Bostock Stanley then, who make just the one change from their 2-0 win last Sunday against Gazelles, and that is to see Vieri drop to the bench and Fernando Torres start tonight.
Again, that's interesting, but Roland Jacques at AM, I think, is a good call. That middle 4 of Zé Roberto, Guigu, Decor, and Cafu is pretty solid. I'd say one thing about Scott's side is that there's not the Galacticos in that many other sides have.
Yep.
But it's very, very functional. He's often very, very hard to beat once he does get on a roll.
Yeah.
I think Torres season 4 or 5, whatever we know in this iteration, is generally pretty good. I think he should. Yeah, there you go. Like pace, quick. His determination finishing is pretty good. Flair's good. I mean, even though some of his other stats leave a lot to be desired in terms of what you want from a forward, he gives it you. As in, put the ball in his path and he will beat people and score. Simple as that. So it looks like Scott might be setting up that way. Hard to break down. Exciting going forward. Width provided by the Brazilian fullbacks. Looking forward to this game. And I think it will be Desmond.
You're going for a Desmond. Thankfully, your choice has not gone to a ghost game straight away. So we kick off tonight's action with Dragons at home to Bostock Stanley. Macca predicting a Desmond. Let's see how it goes. It was Bostock with the first opportunity of the evening, but it's Dragons who take the lead, and it is a debut goal from the new winger, promoted from the reserves, and that draws a reaction from the co-commentator. But Carlos Jacques on 13 minutes, and he doubles in 15 minutes. 2 goals from Carlos Jacques, completely turns this game around, but it's 2-2. And again, what's a day? Torres, I can't keep up. It's 3-2. What a choice by the co-commentator. This is unbelievable. Predictions are still coming through, and already they've been surpassed by the amount of goals in this game. It got to 3-2 on our screen as the chat said Steve Wright predicting 2-1 and Rob predicting 2-0. I mean, let's take a breath as we get to half time. Absolute carnage in the Lonely Mountain as it's Dragons 2, Bostock Stanley 3. Well, Macca, you certainly know how to pick them.
Well, it's all downhill from here, surely. I mean, I can't wait to play a drab 0-0 with Martin later on. That was bloody electric, wasn't it? And considering, I mean, look at the tackles. Oh, what they've been doing, just kicking it away from each other. Can you just do us a favour? Can you just check both keepers are actually still in the net?
Well, let's have a look at the home side first. Quickly then, Shiotis on a 5. Surprisingly, Alefropoulos on a 7.
Do you know what? 20 years playing this game, I will never understand it. Simkoviak, or however you pronounce it.
You've made certainly a better. I'm not even attempting it.
I'm sure I'll get lectured by somebody for pronouncing that wrong. It's the whole Gianni Kedda incident again, isn't it? He's made quite the impression. Pretty direct, getting involved as well. I mean, that's a great shout from Duncan to bring him up. Veron, a little bit quiet. Looks like he's suffering with the same problems I had with him, particularly at IMC. But I mean, if you just look at the passes, the ball's barely been at people's feet. It's like it's just been. It's like it's just been a game. You know, like in secondary school, where shit teams, and I know this because I played on a few shit teams in secondary school. Like you'd see other lads warming up, doing drills and everything, but then you just have about 10 of the opposition just all practicing free kicks from 40 yards as if we were ever going to get one, as if we're ever going to fucking score.
Yeah.
I was part of that rabble that would just shoot from miles out for no reason. It looks like this is the same thing here. It's crazy.
Well, I took note of what you were saying about the tackling and the lack of ball, but I'm looking at the aerial contest as well. It's not. I mean, Carew, who would obviously be there for that kind of thing, hasn't had to challenge for any aerial duels yet. You know,
maybe that's 5-a-side then, below it, aren't we? Oh yeah, David and Boomer and Bishkan all getting stuck in. I said those. Well, I said Bishkan and Davids might do all right, but yeah, it's quite odd. It's quite odd, isn't it? Yeah, if the centre backs haven't done it, what's going on here?
That's exactly what I was going to say. The centre backs between them have had to challenge for one header, and even then, so he didn't win it. Duggan already making changes, so let's go through these. So Sigs for Carew. So he lasted 45 minutes before Scalco gets put back in the firing line. I mean, clearly there's going to be opportunities for him in this game. Drop Veron into MC alongside Bowyer. With a half diagonal forward arrow. The diagonal arrow becoming very popular, 5 seasons after I made it fashionable. Bowyer, Tato's gone. Bowyer's touched the ball 5 times and got 2 assists.
Which is incredible.
Let's have a look at the Bostock ratings then. As you say, so their goalkeeper rating a 7 despite conceding 2 in quick succession. The defence not holding out quite as well ratings-wise. Decor with possibly his first ever 5 in the Super League. And despite this team scoring 3 goals very, very quickly, Raul still failing to really contribute anything of note.
That's so odd, isn't it? I mean, like, Decor only getting a 5 when he's 6 tackles and 1-1. But like, who's he tackling? The ball's nowhere. I mean, again, look at the headers there. You've got Guigu and John Welsh winning headers. It seems like people are just playing keepy uppy in the middle of the park. So who the fuck is Decor trying to tackle?
He's clearly been watching Everton earlier because they were trying to tackle nobody as well.
He wants Prutton for Decor. Yeah.
Yeah, Prutton for Decor is the change for Bostock.
Pete Grief says Deku is a fraud. I don't know who that is.
Well, to be fair, there's been a few names that I've had messages for in terms of team selection this week. You're familiar with Seb Deisler, now at Devils. He was referred to as Desiree in the message that I received. So I took an educated guess that that's who was meant. Both teams making changes then. We go to as close to 60 as we can. Let's hope this continues. How many more goals can we expect in the second half, or will it dry up now?
Well, I'd love to say it'll dry up just to lower the heart rates, but fuck knows, it could end up being 4-4 this.
And it's a red
here we go.
card on
Christ.
58 minutes. Baumer's been sent off. The drama continues for the home side. I mean, he is losing. Where do you think? Where, in your opinion, would you go here? Would you just?
Do you know what? I just keep it like that for banter.
Keep it like that for banter.
Yeah.
I mean, we are essentially at the hour mark as well. So to keep the game flow, I might just hit condition and let both teams make their changes now. But certainly interesting with them losing. Dragons to equalise with 10 men guaranteed, says Martin. Ortega is an option, but do you bring an attacking player on at this point? Do you perhaps you narrow the three midfielders and put arrows on them all?
Yeah, you could do that. And Veron's probably the most likely candidate to be the left of the three middle ones, I would think. But
what he's actually doing is he's moving Bowyer to the right.
Okay.
And a bit like that. I mean, I like it. That's
balanced. Yeah, can see why he's doing that. That's probably the most logical option, actually, in hindsight, given that Shimkoviak's a winger or whatever. Up against Cafu, though, no mean feat. I don't know. I'd have maybe gone a little bit chaotic there just for the fucking crack of it and put them and played the lads at AML and AMR. Oh, speaking of which, if Alf is watching, I reckon I've hacked Roma without Wibwob or superstars by playing a mazy version of 4-2-4. Hit me up, Alf. I'll send you the formation. Well, I say Roma, it's actually Lazio who're giving me shit on my Bolton save. Fucking honestly, just teams from Rome, Fifey. They're the worst.
Scott making a change as well. Robbie Keane coming on for the ineffective Raul to try and alter things up.
No, I think Raul's done a job. Bear in mind, he's obviously been battering Decor, because if you think Decor had a stinker and he's meant to be picking up Raul, I'd say Raul's done a bit of a number on Decor though, which is unlikely.
No announcement of any tactical change, so we'll leave it like that. And we continue. Bostock now a goal and a man ahead with an hour played. And they look... Fifey's lad now a Roma fan. No, he still doesn't like football. Mr. Oliphant is certainly getting involved with players. Here come Dragons again. Sigalko, but he can't get us live. We've slowed the commentary down. This is an entertaining start. Shiotta's with a save. 75 on the clock. Here come Bostock again, and it's Torres. Keane picks up the loose ball. Fine save and a corner to the away side, which Ekiok takes clear. Jacques looking for a hat-trick. We're into the final 10 minutes, into the final 5 minutes. Got two players, in fact. Must remember, two players looking for a hat-trick potentially. Will we get injury time scenes? No is the answer. And the game finishes Dragons 2, Bostock Stanley 3. But a very entertaining start to the evening. And just look at how those stats ended up, Macca.
That is incredible. You know, I don't feel like the text displayed that much of a difference. Perhaps maybe after the sending off, but I still wouldn't have expected it to be as wild as that. I mean, you just without getting too much like the Athletic here, Dragons have just lost on sort of every key metric there, haven't they? And it was always going to be uphill playing half an hour with 10 men, but they still scored 2. Shimkoviak's obviously a bit of a gem. Definitely should keep his place for next week. I do think Duggan's building something all right here, and they are capable of going on a run. So I wouldn't panic just yet. Still finding the best formation and whatnot after a summer of hefty transfer business. Cracking result for Scott. Bostock quietly roll on. Great game.
The red card is for a headbutt on Welsh. Let's have a look at the home side. As you say, they shouldn't be too upset. Although, are you surprised to see Veron there? Rating a 5. He did play centre midfield on his own for part of the game as well, I suppose. But he had the joint most amount of pass attempts. He had the most amount of completed passes. He admittedly only won one of his 4 tackles. He didn't win anything in the air, and his one shot wasn't on target. So perhaps not a stellar performance.
No, do you know what I will say about Seba? He does have the tendency to occasionally throw in a bit of a performance like this. So it's not something we haven't seen before. And if you look, Bishkan and Davids behind him have done an exemplary job of backing him up. So I think it's one of those where, if Veron has the license and he performs, fantastic. If not, he does occasionally throw in a stinker. He is only human at the end of the day. Well, or there's a string of code on a game.
Carlos Jacques picks up man of the match. Cafu with a superb performance as well, rating a 9. Robbie Keane coming on, on the hour mark. The numbers are low, but he certainly made an impression, completing all of his passes. He had a couple of attempts on goal as well. All in all, Scott, I think, will be very happy, even though he's conceded 2. It's not like he's played poorly from a defensive perspective.
No, absolutely not. I think, and forgetting the for and against columns here, if you'd have offered him a 1-0 win, he'd have obviously snapped your hand off. So overall, against a very dangerous Dragon side, I think he's done pretty well there. Jacques, phenomenal, has been brilliant in the league for the last couple of years. Robbie Keane over Vieira, astute choice. Keane's numbers were pretty efficient. So yeah, got the job done. Great result, Scott.
Congratulations to them. Commiserations to Duggan and the Dragons. Next up, we go to Lettersford versus Locomotive Boston. You mentioned that Loco had started the season well. They are unbeaten since their opening day defeat to Astor. They've won their last 2. With the exception of the defeat to Astor, they haven't conceded more than 1. They are starting to look more like a Greavesy team of old, aren't they?
They are, and that's, as I said at the top of the show, that's quite frankly really fucking annoying. It's really annoying because you know what? A lot of the thing is with Super League, we are probably missing a few pantomime villains. I mean, it's nowhere near Christmas and Greaves is already at it. Oh no, he isn't. He fucking is. And I'm no doubt he'll be saying to the people at the top of the league, "I'm behind you." That's fine, Widow Twanky. We're not asked, right? We just hopefully you bottle it in the playoffs like his beloved Celtics. Yeah, typical Greaves side, this, isn't it? 3 dirty Italians up top, who were all like miniature cheat codes, solid defenders, and then a midfield of absolute shithouses, bar Carlos, who is probably just shooting from everywhere anyway, and Montella's pinging in the rebounds. I don't want to dwell on this team too much, to be honest, Fifey, because it quite frankly upsets me.
That's fine. Just the one change from their performance last time out, with Cassano coming in for Rui Costa, who drops to the bench. Mr. Piers has pointed out that Greavesy couldn't even spell locomotive properly on his tactic name, and told him to piss off.
Oh, he's just doing it on purpose now. He's not even bothered anymore. He does it to wind us up. Like he's become this centralised. I used to think the pantomime villains was like, Rob, when he'd just be saying he hopes people get, raped by elephants or whatever nonsense he used to come out with. Well, it is just Greavesy now, though, isn't it? You've basically, how many Super League managers are there? 14.
Yep.
You've basically 13 good guys ish. All right, maybe 10 good guys. 3 tweeners. Average. Yeah, 3 50-50 lads. Could turn to the dark side at any point. And then just Greaves, Darth Greaves.
Tato, as you'll see from his tactic name, he's opted to fight Dole with asymmetric, and he's reverted back to something we've seen him play before. During his Astor days, Ronaldinho and Lee Chun-So supporting Van Nistelrooy and Galletti up top, and then just the you've got Ndai there without the arrow, everyone else with their forward arrow on. I do like the look of Etsabaria in that right wing back position.
Do you know? I still can't get my head around this. I know. Somebody, was it Hodgie had tremendous success with him in that position a few years back, and I still just can't get my head around it because isn't do you mind clicking on Galletti? Isn't he a attacking midfielder, forward, right, left, or something?
He is.
Oh, forward, right, left, centre. That's it. I'd have potentially been looking at him to play at wing back because bar his strength, which apparently doesn't matter on this game, but his pace, crossing, dribbling, passing, all decent, tackling, teamwork, technique. Do you know what I mean? He's winger material if you're short or if you're on the front foot. But interesting choice from Mr. Piers. I don't know. I don't really know what else to say because the rest of the team's fucking shit, isn't it?
Well, Tato says he's only a striker on the editor, according to Steve. So that's what he's put in there. You say the rest of the team is shit. I mean, Hippier on loan from yourselves?
Yeah, again, my charitable work, our corporate social responsibility over at Fulchester
I mean, you've
continues
sent out,
unabated.
is it 3 or is it 4? 3 players out on loan to different Super League clubs this year.
Yeah, it's corporate social responsibility. Whilst we dodge tax, we need to make it look like we actually give a shit. So that's why we send out Hoopier, Arca, and the other lad.
Hoopier, Arca, and the other lad.
Yeah, the work experience lad, whoever it is. Go and spend a week with IT. That's basically what we're saying to him.
Bishkan.
Bishkan, oh, that's it. Yeah. Get the bruising, lad. I don't know. Right. So with this, like, joking aside, Diop, Liam backs him fine. I can't call him Liam. Tato backs him. He must be one of them intrinsic motherfuckers because he's absolutely crap. Scally and Undayi. Scally occasionally okay, fine. I know Martin's view on him. Mine's quite similar to that. He doesn't have the assist people get, and he's a walking red card. Undayi, or however you pronounce it, he, in my view, whilst he always cranks up decent ratings, unless he's got decent players next to him, you can't really build a team around Asani.
I just think it's worth noting on the Scally one, you're right, because last year was the only year he's had any assists since joining the Super League. However, the tag of being a walking red card is a myth because he hasn't had a single red card during this iteration in the Super League.
I stand corrected. Okay, fair enough. Well, then how many? He's had what? 28 yellows in how many games?
Sorry, let me go back.
Like 50.
So 132 minus the 49 that he played for Air. So just under.
All right, yeah, that's not bad actually. Yeah, it's 1 in 3 ish. That's actually not too bad then, considering.
You take it back.
No, I still don't like him.
Tato say, yeah, don't call me Liam, please. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, when I met him for beers like a long time ago, I was like, Tato, and he was like, yes. It's like, okay, because now I know your real name, it doesn't feel right. Like, he's never going to call me Chris, is he?
No.
Exactly. Anyway, yeah, I mean, Lee Chun-Soo in the whole, Lee Chun-Soo can be a bit dangerous. Ronaldinho, hit and miss. Van Nistelrooy should be bagging loads. Galletti looks, like I said, I'd have maybe played him out wide. Interesting with the asymmetric, but I do feel there's more to come out of this squad in a nutshell. Just how do you unlock it is probably the question that Tato's trying to answer.
Alf saying Scally's definitely a red tonight now. Swan saying 21 managers in total. Only seven clubs have the same manager from the start of this iteration. That's probably right, but let's not forget Lettersford have had about 20 managers themselves in the last 2 seasons.
At one point, I'm pretty sure Alan Kirbishley was odds on to get the job, as he always is with these things.
Let's kick off game number 2 of the evening, and let's see how Lettersford get on against Loco. And it's the away side coming forward. Toby makes a save, and still plenty of pink and white text in this opening 10-15 minutes, much to the dismay of my co-commentator, who is fully downing that bottle by way to entertain himself in this game. Just past the half an hour mark, and Lettersford take the lead, and it's Galletti with his first ever goal for Lettersford, and just before half time, and the whistle goes, and Lettersford do lead. Level game in terms of chances created, both making use, getting them all on target, Macca. But
yeah, I'll tell you what. Look at that headers one stat. That is ridiculous. I've never seen it so one-sided. Do you know what though? In this, this is kind of like cheering on Saudi Arabia to have a go at China for human rights records. That's kind of the level of teams we're looking at here. It's like the lesser of two evils, isn't it? Tato's fucking like OCD crippling visuals just to make everybody have a spasm versus Greaves's widow twanky nonsense. Yeah.
Rigid widow twankyisms.
He is. I'm just going to call him Mr. Pantomime now. I mean, that's the only pantomime character I can think of. What pantomimes are there? Because I tell you what, I ain't taking my kids to pantomimes in a few years. Fuck that.
Oh, I don't know. Don't mind the pantomime, mate.
Nah, I can't. I'll be honest. Anything that is a bit slapstick or brings people joy, I can't be arsed with.
Looking at the Lettersford ratings, then pretty solid throughout. A number of 8s in there, a couple of 7s as well. Only 3 players rating a 6. Tato already saying on reflection of that he's happy till 60. Is there anything though? You mentioned the headers, and something that caught my eye as well is just the variety of people going up. It's not like one person's dominating in the air; they're all doing it.
Yeah, that's unusual, isn't it, to see such a balanced array of headers across the team. I mean, the fact that Taibbi's won 2 and both of them were key. Like, he's just like, fuck this, I'm taking the gloves off. I ain't punching anything now, I'm just going up with my head.
He's gone full Monk from Mean Machine, isn't he?
Yeah, he's probably playing sweeper. He's gone full Neuer, and he's just winning headers. I mean, fucking, do you know what? We're saying this, they could have been up the other end. Who knows?
Just going up for corners.
I mean, after that Bostock Dragon start, anything's possible tonight. Do you know what? We're going to have a keeper assist tonight. I can see it.
As for Loco, it's all right. That plenty of 7s. Just that they haven't got that 1 or 2 players like Lettersford have going the extra mile, getting the 8s and 9 ratings, have they?
No, but Locomotive are happy being at 6s and 7s. That was a little drum roll for you there, Fife, because it's a shit joke. Never mind. Because he basically won the league doing this, didn't he, with Stefan Effenberg? So I don't think this will worry him. They're still in the game. I'd maybe looking at that bench. I don't know. Are you going to bring on for a bit of physicality or height to try and win some of those headers?
Lucenhoff.
I don't know. What's his heading? 14? Probably not then.
Both managers happy.
He's going as is. Yeah, it makes sense. I can see that.
Both managers happy to go to the hour mark. So we kick off the second half as Lettersford come out looking to get a second very early in the half. As we just pass the hour mark, Lettersford have a set piece, and as the home side get the opportunity, Tato did suggest he was going to make unnecessary sweeping changes on the hour mark. So let's see what exactly he does. A goal up and with a set piece when we return to the action.
I absolutely wouldn't touch this. It seems to be working. At worst, I'd maybe put some fresh legs on for Galletti, possibly Rayad or Inzaghi. Maybe Rayad because he's got that similar profile of right, left, centre. Although Echeverria and Diop, his wing backs, are a bit fucked. No, hang on. Or Chunny off for Rayad. Yeah, okay. I thought you were listening to what I was saying there, fam.
Yeah, I'm just going to let you make everyone subs tonight.
I'll tell you what, right? We should do a friendly game of that. That'd be fucking class, wouldn't it?
Just a round where only the co-commentator can make changes.
Yeah, just you have to play a wild card out of 26 games. Core comms goes in for you. You can't touch keeper, obviously within reason.
Well, did you not? Was it not you that suggested another round of like during the Christmas break or whatever of a special set of fixtures as well that I should be running?
I don't know. I probably said some bullshit. It depends how many beers I've had at the time, Fafi. I mean, to be fair, we all love and applaud the job you do with Super League. So you run it off your schedule. The rest of us can get fucked.
As for Greaves, he's still a goal behind with 30 minutes to play. Do you expect him to change it? You've already suggested there's not much on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much different he can do potentially. I would maybe consider actually chucking Del Vecchio and Cassano alongside Montella, just in case there's any knockdowns, flick-ons, that kind of stuff. And then maybe a forward arrow on Van Bommel just to try and mix it up, and then potentially chuck Rui Costa on for one of those midfield 3. But that's probably going too much for Greaves. That's too adventurous.
Well, he's going Rui Costa for Cassano. Is his desired change? No word of anything tactical. Just give him sort of 30 seconds just to confirm that's all he wants to do. But do you see the benefit in doing it that way? Would you maybe move Cassano as a front 2?
Yeah, I'd try something different. I'd be going like for like. I can't remember the header stats per individual, but he's either losing headers in midfield, so therefore beef up the midfield, or he's losing headers up top, so therefore give Montella some support. It's got to be one of the two. I mean, if you're losing headers at wing back, it don't really matter. There's not much to play with, is there? He's gone back to that very shithousey squad, hasn't he?
He has indeed. He's happy to continue. So with both sides making their changes, and I've corrected Steve on at least one person he missed off of his list of all the Super League managers in this. Oh my God! All the time flew by there without me getting a chance to slow it down. 3 minutes being added on. Lettersford still with the lead. Ronaldinho with a weighted pass, but it's picked up by Van Bommel. And are we going to get late scenes this time? Perry goes into the referee's notebook.
If it says like this, what a result this is for Lettersford. Genuinely, cracking result.
Free kick to Lettersford. Raya to take it. Sends it over. Ronaldinho. Peruzzi saves though.
Not pretty.
Ronaldinho, and it's a corner.
Job.
Raya floats it in. Ronaldinho again. Why is Ronaldinho so good in the air on this game?
I don't know. Cash out bet. 1-0, cash out.
And there's the full-time whistle. Rayad missing the last opportunity of the game, but it didn't matter as Lettersford run out 1-0 winners.
Fair play to them. Deserved it on the balance of play.
They've dominated the second half. Loco created nothing.
Yeah, the only thing that's improved slightly is Loco's headers overall. Other than that, well played Lettersford, decent result, ground it out. Again, I don't think Greaves is going to be too asked about the nature of the performance. Just one of those days. He'll probably still be in the mix right at the end.
Etsabaria picks up Man of the Match award for his performance. You mentioned Diop. He was fine. Scally as well. Still, there was a suggestion that after us discussing it, he would get sent off. He never even got a yellow card in this game. What do you make of Van Nistelrooy? I mean, his scoring record so far this season's been decent. That's 3 and 6. But he's just one of those players who everyone always expects more from, and it just doesn't happen in the Super League.
Yeah, do you know what? I think it's because when everyone's playing, say, home saves, and if they're in the English top flight, you always see like Ruud van Nistelrooy plays 60 games, score 54 goals. Martin O'Neill's in charge second season, wib-wobbing the fuck out of a 3-4-1-2 or whatever he's doing. So Van Nistelrooy bags loads. So I think everybody assumes, right, well, it must be fairly easy to get at least half that out of him. But, to your point, it's Super League, isn't it? He's coming up against, it's like basically a Champions League game every time. Mm-hmm. And I don't think his Champions League record on home saves is that great. Like he might be a bit of a flat track bully. So I don't know. I still feel like you could probably get 10 to 15 goals a season out of him, at least, in 20 odd games. I don't think that's beyond the realms of fantasy, but he just doesn't seem to do it wherever he goes. And I actually think the best way to get it out of him perhaps is as a lone striker.
Okay. We move over to Loco and see what they've done. Zanoni alongside Clompe, the best rated players, both on 8s. It was much like we said at half time, isn't it? That the performance was okay without being exceptional. They just didn't have that couple of players in key positions doing that extra bit to put them over the line.
Yeah, correct. Just not enough. Van Bommel's not really turned up. Petit has tried to get involved and somehow ended up with a 6. That's odd, actually. I mean, upon reflection, he looks like he's done all right there, actually. But other than that, yeah, just a bang average day at the office for Greavesy. And do you know what? Don't you fucking love to see it? Love to see it.
Things you love to see.
Get him in the stocks and throw rotten vegetables at him.
Well, the Fulchester manager's certainly enjoying that one. Next up,
the Fulchester manager is going to get another beer. So if you want to review Northern Burn, mate, be my guest.
Next up is Northern Burn versus Churchtown, and this has the makings of a great game, I feel. Northern Burn, their season has to start at some point. They keep the same tactic from last Sunday, despite defeat to Loco Boston. The changes, however, how is Samuel still playing? What a fraud. Changes, however, sees Oliseh coming to defence midfield, Vieira move up into centre midfield. Totti then moves further forward to partner Robin in support of Kluivert, and it means that Brozek is the player to miss out. He drops to the bench. If you look at the fixtures, Macca, we know that Burn have only got the 1 point, but as you go through, if I just click on these quickly, it's not as if they're being completely outclassed. That they're very much in games, if not arguably the better side in games. But we've had this, as we said when Ian was on CoComs a couple of game weeks ago, we've had this sort of hanging over them right back into last season. Their finishing has just disappeared entirely.
Well, that's because their main forwards disappeared entirely.
Well, no, but it was just, like I say, it was the same back end of last year when he was playing. They just weren't scoring the goals. I mean, again, if we go back to the fixtures, and scroll down to the end of last year, with the odd exception, they got a 2 and they got a 3 there, but there's a 1, there's a blank, another 1, 2 blanks, 2 1s. They weren't exactly firing on all cylinders going into the playoffs.
No, that's true. And I wonder, correct me if I'm wrong, but did Ian tinker with some of the formations a little bit midway through the season? I don't want to say derailed him a bit, but did it not sort of,
he'll alter, not as much as say Dimble, who he's up against tonight. Dimble will tweak something every single game week depending on who he's up against. Ian won't tinker that much, but he does occasionally alter, whether it's a slight position or an arrow or the odd instruction here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But largely, this is still the same. With the exception of now that he's dropped an extra man into the defensive midfield position, I think to cover the fact that they're leaking goals. This is largely still the same as what won in the league a couple of seasons ago.
It is. I wonder. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a huge fan of Emerton. I was looking to try and bring him to the C-suite actually as either backup for Beckham or to actually play a right wing and shift Beckham into the middle. But can you just click on Brett Emerton for me actually? Because I know sometimes he can have like absolutely crazy seasons where he pumps out assists, but yeah, what's going on here? Yeah, 63% passing, no assists so far. Not many assists historically. Bit of an unusual one, isn't it? I love how he went from Dudley Hill to Feyenoord. That's incredible. Because obviously he's an Aussie, isn't he? So I mean that's brilliant. Yeah, maybe it's just Emerton's a downgrade on Contra, or at least in this Super League iteration he is. I don't know. There's so much talent on that page there, isn't there? But it's an odd one. It's an odd one how Ian's not been able to get the absolute best out of those guys. So weird. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. He must have done something or accidentally changed his tactic. It might be something as silly as that, perhaps.
Churchtown are becoming the draw specialists, 3 in the first 5 this season. But they're still showing signs of what made them really entertaining, particularly the second half of last year. And as I say, Dimble tweaks something very slightly each game week. We're back with Terry and Viali as the choice partnership. It's I want to say, is it Mascoro? Mascoro had been playing the last couple of games. He drops to the bench. Mield comes in because Mendes da Silva is suspended. Volodenkov plays on the left with Zambrotta on the right. Brujink and Agahawa partnering Hussein. They were a very effective trio, as I say, the back end of last year.
Yeah, do you know what? Again, a very, very balanced side. I do worry about Hakan Mild. Is he not about 37 or something at this point in time?
He's 34.
Or 34. He'll work hard, but I mean, he'll be chasing shadows, won't he, most of the time. Oscar Mascaro, or Mascaro, whatever he's called, Mascazoro. I do like him, actually. I signed him on a home save recently. He was absolutely world class. So great shout there, Dimble. Thank you very much for that. The rest of the team, again, it's bizarre at the night because it's wonderfully balanced and you think there should be plenty of goals in it. The only arguably weak spot you would say on paper is Dario Hussein. But wasn't he Dims's top scorer last year?
He ended the season very strong, 11 goals in 16 appearances.
Yeah, so you wouldn't knock that, would you? So again, don't judge a book by its cover, as I often do from my middle class ivory tower. See, I mean, I'm looking at. To be honest, this is the first time I'm seeing a lot of the squads in depth, seeing them on screen. Because when it comes to the transfer stuff, I don't really talk to anybody. I just wait for somebody to hit me up or flirt with me, and I go, "Oh yeah, go on then." I'm quite shy on the transfer dance floor, as it were. Do you know what? I don't mean to pile misery on Mr. Edwards here, but I think Churchtown will win this and win it 2-0.
Oh, okay. 2-0 prediction from the studio. Let's kick off the game and see if that is correct. Churchtown starting like a train. Really going at their hosts, trying to see if that morale can take a beating. And it is Hussein on 19 minutes who gives the away side the lead. And they still come forward looking for a second. Have Northern Burn got the mentality? We've certainly got the quality, but have they got the mentality to get back in this? After a quick start, it ends and 1-0 to Churchtown at half time, and absolutely dominating things again, Macca.
Called it.
You did indeed.
Well, I mean, what more can you say? That I mean, aside from the, well, if you dimble right now, are you mourning? Is there anything that's wrong there? No. You look at the result. You bossing most metrics. You thinking this is fucking fantastic. Crack on. I think Mr. Edwards has got his work cut out here. He might need to go back to the drawing board and move away from his rocket ship formation and maybe try something different.
Let's have a look at Northern Burn first, as we see Ian Campbell saying beautiful away colours for Churchtown. Toldo, not well. Basically, look at every player almost, with the exception of Cannavaro and Roy Keane. Everyone playing below themselves. I mean, sure, Gatos only on a 5. You never see that. He's normally a very consistent member.
Yeah, he's normally Mr. Reliable.
Even the players on 7s, Robin's normally a lot higher than that. Totti, Ian's the only man to get a lot more than that. And you can't even really say that this is an aging squad either.
Oh, well, most of the players are in the prime, aren't they? Or bar maybe Roy Keane. I think a lot of these guys are 30 and under, or around the 30 mark. So not too old. It's just odd, isn't it? It's just odd.
Vieira only making 50% of his passes. 50% of his tackles. 75% of his passes.
So it's odd, isn't it? Robin's done nothing. Clivert's done nothing. Totti's done nothing. It's like they're really struggling to get the ball from midfield to the forwards.
I mean, I'll be honest. When I'm doing the packs, I don't look too deep into things unless people ask me to specifically. So I don't know if I'll be making this up or not. But being down the bottom when they're used to success, I can imagine there'll be a few players on low morale. Do you think that has an impact, or on this game is morale a myth?
No, I think it does have an impact. Again, I will generally try and pick players with at least good morale or at least good form, that kind of thing. I don't know why. I do feel like, whether it's misplaced or not, I do feel like the algorithm, in the engine or whatever, will sort of factor in all of these things. And if you've got a load of players on good morale, you would think in theory there should be players with low morale. So it might just be that Northern Burn are going through a bit of a whipping boy stage. Like every team's been through it at some point. Every team's had a run of sort of 10 or so games where it's not been great, and maybe this is just Burn's time, because for the past 4 or 5 seasons in this iteration, they've been nigh on unstoppable. Well,
Ian, remarkably, is probably making the most amount of changes he's ever made. So bear with me 1 second while I make sure I do this right. Swap Robin with Jorgatos, Guerrero on for Jorgatos, like so. Oliseh swap with Brozek. And put him to the right of Cliver, like so. I think that's what he means. Totti central with an arrow, like that. And then there's no.
See what he said.
I believe that's what he means. Although there may be an extra instruction coming about Guerrero possibly altering his position.
Ignore last bit, please.
Okay, so does he mean leave them like that? Possibly. I think that's possibly what he means. Keane central. Just confirm, Ian, that that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think that's what he wants to do. It's bold of Ian to make these changes, but it's a sign of the times that when he's making sweeping changes.
It is. I mean, because for seasons past, you could almost, bet your house on who he'd play every week as long as he had a fully fit squad. Whereas now you think, yeah, he's got to mix it up a bit, at least to maybe look at some of the morale and form and condition stuff.
And we didn't even really get a chance to discuss Churchtown before Dimble said no changes. He's very content with how things have gone in that first half.
Yeah, crack on then. You don't need to. Churchtown playing all right. There you go. There's your analysis. Better than Jermaine Genius.
And it's Churchtown come forward again. Brugink missing the latest opportunity, and there's another one goes missing. And corner now for Northern Burn. As we approach our mark, Cannavaro gets booked. And Churchtown won a penalty they score the penalty. It's 2-0. As we've just passed the hour mark, Hussein scores the penalty. It's 2-0, and now a huge mountain to climb for Northern Burn as we stop for the tactical changes. There's no attacking options left on the bench, so anything that Ian's going to do is going to be purely tactical. But when you look at those players, what exactly could he do to mix this up? He's 2 goals behind now.
Genuinely, do you know what I'd do? I'd put Totti AMC middle, arrow up to Cliver, Brozek AMR, arrow in, Guerrero AML, arrow in, and just fucking go for it. Or Robin, you do something with Robin and Guerrero, whatever. You have to look at doing something there and just getting players in positions that maybe aren't being picked up in typical formations and cutting inside, that kind of thing.
You could even potentially move Robin right up, drop Brozek back and make that a 4 behind Cliver and just let Vieira, you could put Emerton central and let Vieira...
I was going to say, you could play Vieira, Keane and Emerton in a central 3 or in a little triangle. That's not a bad shot. I mean, anything at this stage has got to be worth it, hasn't it?
You would imagine so.
I mean, if this carries on for another few games, I can't see Ian going on a 15-game winning streak after this. So, are we genuinely talking, is he out the playoffs with a few more defeats? But I think that's the level we're at, Fife.
Well, it's Okoronkwo on for Hoffland and a little arrow on Vieira is the option.
That's interesting.
As for Churchtown, 2-0 up.
Churchtown, light the cigar, pour another glass of Malbec and kick back. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Bar maybe. I did say Hakan Mild would tire, but I'm not sure who else you could put there. Maybe Petrov and play Kaka in midfield, but at this point you're thinking, right, there's only half an hour left. Can we just hold on?
And it shows the level of which Northern Burn are playing at the moment, that Martin has already tried to pile the pressure on under the umbrella of banter by saying, I appreciate the help here, but you don't have to make sure we stay off the bottom.
I guarantee, though, when I play Ian, it'll be a score draw. It always is.
Dimble keeping things the same, 2-0 to Churchtown. 3-0 to Churchtown, and it's a Hussein hat-trick.
Wow. He's fucking gash. He shouldn't be anywhere near Super League, but here he is.
No need to slow this one down, so we'll play it to its conclusion. 77 on the clock as Totti misses a header. And a yellow card for Tomazi. Burn look like they've created 1 or 2 opportunities, but it's Hussein scores 4. 4 in one night, his 5th of the season. And 4 of them have come in one night, Macca.
I honestly just he's like fucking Uruguayan Hamilton Ricard or whatever. He shouldn't be here. He shouldn't be doing anything.
Let's have a look at the penalty award, which really did change the game. Agahawa headed the ball down for Vorodenko.
Dubious decision.
He was brought down by Toldo in the area. Paul Eldridge gave a penalty. It was dubious. The Northern Burn players protested furiously. But yes, so Dario Hussein scores his 5th goal of the season, 4 of them in one night, in a masterclass performance by Churchtown. Utterly dominant performance by Churchtown. Some of the, Burns' passing wasn't awful. Their tackling percentage was up. Their headers were only slightly down on the opponents, but Churchtown were just utterly ruthless.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say Northern Burn appear to be, based off this game alone, and perhaps just this season, they appear to be missing that creative link between midfield and attack. It's almost like Totti and Kluivert haven't quite gelled yet, so it might be time for Ian to maybe try something. I mean, I'm going to keep saying it. Ian, please try something different.
Well, here's a question for you. Take all the obvious aside, like they're not scoring goals, etc. Toldo has, without question, been one of the best keepers in the league throughout, its entirety. However, and I appreciate it's not that old for a goalkeeper, but at 33, he's rating a 4. He's conceded 4 when Cannavaro is rating a 9. Is there calls maybe for Burn to be trying out? They've got Roy Carroll, Chris Douglas,
no. I'll tell you now. Sorry, Fife, I'm going to cut you short there. Judging by those other paltry keepers, no. I think Ian's a bit like me in that he's got a class keeper, or allegedly class keeper, and shite backups. And there's not much else you can do. Your keepers will have off days. That just happens. I mean, if you remember, I had that season where Buffon had about fucking 4 or 5 stinkers in a row, or whatever it was. These things just happen. I think you've just got to play your way through it, because I would not, if I was Ian, I would not feel comfortable picking any of those other lads as backup. Like, not maybe Vesterveld for a half. That's it.
He's only ever played five
and conceded 10, so you can see why.
Let's focus more then on Churchtown, and I mean, look at the. Obviously, Hussein gets man of the match, but just look at the performance of Zambrotta and Volodenkov out wide.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Volodenkov 2 assists, industrious. I mean, slightly wayward with the passing, but won some tackles. Zambrotta same. Arguably statistically better by the other assist, but that's been phenomenal from the 2 wingers, and you can tell that's really how Churchtown have created a lot of stuff. The rest of the players, not incredible. 7s is kind of what you'd expect, at least from a half decent player in Super League. So that's interesting. Maybe other managers take note, shut down the wingers. Maybe you shut down Hussein, or however it's pronounced.
But a very accomplished performance from Churchtown. Ian saying Macca's called much correct tonight. Toldo plays, but we have to change. Tato asking, how tall is Hussein in real life?
I'd love him to be 5'4".
1 second, I will see if I can find out.
You're going to Google it.
I'm going to quickly. Apparently there's shitloads of them. Hang on. Footballer.
How many Dario Husseins are there? Oh, Wassans, whatever. I don't know. Somebody help me out here with pronunciation.
He is 5'9".
All right, this game's nonsense.
Absolute nonsense.
Although saying that, Peter Crouch was 6'7" and he couldn't head. So stranger things have happened.
Well, congratulations to Dimble. Commiserations, Ian. Can he jump on attributes? 17. Tato, for fuck's sake, 5'9". But there you go. This game makes no sense, says Tato. Echoing your sentiments. We definitely don't want Gazelle's full Chester, so let's go to.
There you go. Everyone's just seen me line up.
Let's height means nothing in Super League, says Steve. Right. Let's go to Spartak Sloths at home to Astor Athletic. Alf has led his side to 7th after 5 games, only below the dotted line on goal difference. That includes a romping 3-0 win over title favourites Devils. And last time out, they got a 1-1 draw with Dragons, which we saw earlier. It was the late show by Morientes to rob them of 3 points in a fairly even game. What have you made of Alf's business to turn this Astor side into his own?
Quite interesting, actually. I think a lot of people expected Alf to go with a Dad's Army thing again. He's not. He's got, again, pretty balanced side. No superstar names there. I think did he get Rossini in this window?
I think he was already there.
Or was he? Oh, Rossini's got potential. Louisau both former and Frank are actually, all three of them are former Fulchester. Not quite good enough for the C-suite, but good enough for other departments, shall we say. I think I like the Western Brown axis at the back. Taribo has his detractors. I like him. Wes Brown is absolutely phenomenal. That's a great signing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the Emerson, proper Emerson in midfield?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's brilliant then. Finnan, as long as he stays fit, can be good. It's an overall well balanced team. It's not a very Alf team, if you ask me. But I think that's why he's doing okay. He's probably enjoying having some different players for once and trying some different formations.
I'm just enjoying the conversation in the chat about Peter Crouch, who Tato's right, has got the most amount of headed goals in the Premier League. But,
but to me and Jens's point, if he could actually head, he'd probably have double that. I mean, some of these just hit his face and went in. Like, he was 6'7". He fucking a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again.
I have to say, I was always a fan of the Peter Crouch podcast, but I'm enjoying the new series since they've been. I'm not sure what the technical term is, but they're no longer contracted to BBC and therefore BBC guidelines. I'm enjoying what they're doing with the new series. So if you haven't heard any yet, I would definitely go back. The David James and the Aaron Ramsdale ones are very funny listens.
Is that with is it with Tom Fordyce and somebody else as well?
Chris Stark, who does.
Chris Stark, yeah, I'll give that a listen actually. Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah, no, very funny, very funny. Right, I'm not sure you can quantify your opinion, to be fair. I'm also really enjoying the new series. It's been class. Who can cross the ball? Oh, Liverani left. Oh, sorry. I was like, who they on about? And then
you've got to bear in mind, Alf is in the multiverse, so he just responds to anything.
Speaking of multiverse, I don't know if anyone else has seen it. I've seen the new Doctor Strange film, and it has had its critics. I really enjoyed it. I think people were expecting something other than what it was, but the new Doctor Strange film is actually very good. If you take it on merit of just what it is and not what people think it's supposed to be, it's a very good film.
So I'll give it a watch. I mean, I'm a bit marvelled out with everything, to be honest, but I'd definitely give it a watch.
As for Sloths, Hodgie has decided to mix it up a bit. He's not gone with his usual formation. He's obviously, if we remember last time out, he was on his stag do, and Mr. Savage took charge, and he played this, and got a 2-2 draw with Churchtown, who we've just seen can decimate the best of squads on his day. Both teams had men sent off, although Sloths was in injury time, you might recall. But so it's inspired Hodgie to mix it up, and he's got the Pereira, Patsazoglu, Parfinov, all the P's playing, because he's even got Pedrinho, who's one of the reserve swaps that's been made.
And Pizarro.
And then Pizarro, who I'm very much looking forward to watching. As
is that a tribute to the youth of Twitter who just put P's in front of everybody's name for some fucking reason that escapes me? I've no idea. Michael LeMay, has he been bought off my shitty reserves in the auction? What were his stats? I mean, I just sold him because I thought he was crap. I've never actually checked him out.
Yes, he was. He was bought in the auction.
Oh yeah, he is crap. All right, fine. I mean, he's a decent fullback. If he's right in column, some people might not want out over that, but nothing special. Do you know what? Again, this is probably, as much as Hodgie downplays his own ability and says, "Oh, it's all predetermined, it's an algorithm, blah blah blah." Let's be honest, he's doing all right with it, because again, on paper, that team is crap, and he gets a team to the playoffs every year without fail. So there's got to be something in what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be hard to break down. Possibly the right decision against an inform Alf, who's got some decent attacking options. Be interested to see how it pans out. My only concern here is probably going to be the wings. I think Solari's crap on the game. He's not as good as he was in real life, and even then in real life he wasn't great. And as I've just brutally pointed out, LeMay's garbage. Q hat tricks from both in a 6-6 thriller.
So is it LeMay? Because I would have gone Laney.
I've no idea. He's Dutch, isn't he? So fuck knows how that's pronounced. In fact, you know what? I might just try and piss Martin off and pronounce all these names wrong now from now on in.
Well, let's go to kick-off. And a score prediction from you, please, sir?
Not happy about Astor using my home kit, but whatever. I think this could be Astor 2-1.
Astor 2-1 is the prediction. It looks very Astor dominated, but it's Leamy on his debut. Leamy on his debut scores for Sloths, and there's Franca levelling things up on 19 minutes. But Sloths come forward, and his Amoroso misses. Astor continuing to come forward, looking for a second. Solari gets booked, and they run.
I'm just laughing at everybody else like off scores. Like, so if anybody who's not yet played would like one of their players to score, let me know in the chat and I will slag them off.
Well, interestingly, I was going to say that Steve had said that Laney is more than decent, but before I queried how you pronounce the name. Wayne Oldham brings the first half to a close. It's 1-1. Astor have, as it did appear to me, created more chances, but Sloths did take the lead and do have it level at half time, Macca.
A little bit sluggish. Again, statistically not great, but again, this is not an article on the Athletic. We don't need to go into XG and all that bullshit. Maybe if I'm Hodgie, I'm looking to perhaps be a little bit more attacking, try and get on the front foot. I think you're probably inviting Astor on a bit, and I was not afraid to attack. Sorry, I'm trying to hold my laughter in because Rob's just said in the chat the Macca curse strikes again, pulsing, and I'm just beginning to wonder: is it a thing where lads at right wing back I slag off and just play brilliant? Because I said Echevarria should have come off and he got a fucking 9 and an assist or whatever it was. Now Lemay or whatever he's called has had a goal, and who else did? Well, Poulsen did decent. I'm pretty sure I slagged somebody else off at right wing back and they've done all right. I mean, fuck knows what I'm on about. Yeah, sorry. Back to reality of sorts. I don't know. Maybe bring Danielson on for Solari, push or something like that. Options are quite limited. Shane Tolley, I've seen on home saves, can play midfield or at least AMC, so that might be worth a shout, Hodgie. And then for Astor, I'd be honest with you, I'd kind of, without even seeing their numbers, I'd be keen to just leave as is.
Okay, let's have a look over at Astor as a couple of people report a screen freezing issue. I hope, I'm looking at the feed now, it looks like it's resolved itself, if people could confirm. But we have moved over to Astor now. A couple of players you picked out. Steve Dinnan putting in decent performance. Placente though, strange to see his rating so low. And I wanted to have a look at Wes Brown's performance. Perhaps, he's won.
I'll give it time. Again, the 6 is harsh though.
I think the 6 is harsh.
Yeah, 75% passes. 2 out of his 2 tackles, one of them key. He's won his headers. He's not really put a foot wrong though. I think that 6 is nonsense.
I do as well.
The Placente 5, again, that's odd. Completed his passes. He's not had to put a tackle in. He's only lost 1 header. That seems a bit weird. As I said before, even seeing these numbers, if I was Alf, I'd just keep as is.
So I will allow a little bit extra time for Alf to make any changes because people are still saying it's freezing. Yeah. Although on my screen it looks to be on the same screen as mine.
As is my phone to laptop.
Everyone's saying the audio's crystal, but it's just the actual screen that isn't. Hodgie's saying as is. Had a big freeze. Seems okay now, says Steve. Yeah, Jens is saying no good still. Hodgie's saying his is still behind the comms. So it looks like everyone's at a different stage. So we'll give out, and Alte's long enough as it is. So we'll give him a minute just to make any decisions. Frozen can't see team to make changes. Hodgie's saying it's still on the Sloth stuff. Mine's definitely showing the Astor stats on my stream feed.
Yeah, that's all I can see as well.
Sound fine. Screen not, says Steve. We are on the Sloths though, says Tato. So maybe there is a lag then, because my screen's definitely showing the Astor, and both the game screen that you could see and my version of the YouTube streaming behind is both showing the Astor screen at the moment. So I'm not sure how far behind the YouTube is to what we can actually see, Macca. It's not normally that far behind. We're on the sloughs though, still, says Tato. Alfstein's still frozen. Can anyone see Asta's screen? Because it's definitely appearing on the YouTube stream in YouTube Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Alf is going to lose his head in a minute.
Just log out and in again, Alf.
Alf can't see his numbers, to be fair.
You don't want to.
Mine was
Just
all
go
over.
as is, Alf. Just go as is. Honestly, you'll be sound.
I think that's probably the best thing because everyone's saying it's okay. Okay, there's Asta now. Mine was all over the shop. It seems okay now. Can comms make changes? What you want? You want Macca to make changes for you?
I wouldn't do anything personally, Alf.
Okay.
Placente's playing in midfield, isn't he?
Yes.
Even though he's on a 5, I'd actually leave it as is because his stats suggest otherwise.
YouTube is fine, Fifey. Thank you, Martin. Okay, well, as Alf seemed happy to leave it to you, you don't want to make any changes.
I'd keep as is. I think he's going to see this game out personally.
Let's just kick off the second half and hope that YouTube starts catching up for everybody. Wes Brown makes it 2-1 to Asta. And Franca, it's been disallowed. What a start that was for Asta as we approach the hour mark. Click on the Sloughs tactics screen. Think you're okay. 5 feet. I see Asta, but I don't know if it's froze again. I can now. Think you're okay. I'll leave it to comms. There's a lag on you reading these comments too, I think. Fuck knows what's going on. Maybe I'm just not reading them as they're coming through because I'm concentrating on what's going on in the game. But we've reached the hour mark. It's 2-1 to Asta. Wes Brown scoring. Franca did also have a goal disallowed. Click on a player. Alf, I will listen to audio. Right, let's just start.
I'll leave it to comms. Fair play, Alf. Well, you are leading.
We'll just click on random players just because everyone seems to want me to do so. Pizarro's still waiting for his goal again. If your stream freezes, the sync drops. Just close.
Oh, Solari, look at 3 assists in 4 games. What the fuck do I know?
It's frozen on half time.
Log out and log in again, folks. It is working fine.
Right. Okay, what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to stop the broadcast here and set up a new link for everyone on YouTube because if everyone seems to be having problems, we're at the hour mark. It wouldn't be fair for people.